Today we're gonna go over the 3 challenges that I posted last week. And if you didn't get to see it, it's on the CTF, I believe it's in the CTF announcement. And that is where I'm going to post an announcement every week of the challenges that I'm going to go over the next week. So you guys have a chance a week or so to go over the problem or maybe attempt it. And I'm going to try to put it as medium, easy, medium, and hard, for people to either advance to the hard section, or maybe if you want to see what you could do within like 10 minutes or so, you could dabble with it. Um, I want to go over some CTF skills that you could learn from doing this, and also some or two. And this is super useful when you are basically in a competition, or you just want to see what is inside a file really quickly. Sometimes it does give you gibberish. Like toward the top, I believe that at one point it does give you just gibberish because of the fact that these are in the binary and the hex code. They usually have multiple numbers that attaches itself to an ASCII, right? Because of the fact that the same thing, how a is lowercase a is 67, uppercase a is 92, or the other way around. Um, these sometimes it does come out as gibberish, but sometimes it pulls really important information. In this case, it pulls out our password also, so we didn't even need to go through all of that step. But since we didn't know that to use this, we didn't get to use it. And on the next one, we also will try to do it. That's like one little nice thing to know.
Sorry, what command was it that you used just then?
For just now, it's called strings.
Oh, strings. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. hmm Yeah. And the next one, it gives you this meme picture of this dude. Let's see. Let's save the file. And this dude is pretty memey. Where was that? This is the AGT.png. I personally like watching these American Got Talent things because some of them are just bad at singing, and that's very funny. Um, so first, let's do the regular thing that we like to do. So we just check out what kind of file it is. Swear to God, these things hate me. All right, it says that it is a JPEG image data, GIFI. Tells you all this. Let's look at the EXIF tool. Uh, Tells you that there are file size, normal things. And let's now try to pull out use that string, right? Maybe it gives us some kind of good information. Okay, so it gives us a lot of gibberish. I think for mine, it's not gonna go all the way up. Maybe it will go all the way. Yeah, but it'll take us maybe a whole day to just sift through all the gibberish here. But this is the things that are important or very interesting, let's just say. Um, it gives us all of this stuff, right? And it says that Mac OS X, UX, or all of these things, in which shows that there is folders inside here. So that means that there's things hidden inside this picture. And I want to show you guys this okay command interface called binwalk. Sub Hunter.
Hey, dude, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Cool.
Can you mute yourself? Okay, cool. All right. So it's cool to look into what it is that command the the tool does. So binwalk basically does a bunch of different things with images or steganography, which is hidden files within another file. And what you would do with that is you could read through all the things that it does. It has attraction, entropy, which is basically encrypted files, usually binary diffing, which I'm not really sure what that does, and then raw compression. And what we want to do, we want to extract things here, and we just want to let it do its thing. So we want to try to automatically extract known file types. So whatever is that they know, we want them to extract it for us. So it extracted zip archive data, it extracted a bunch of different things, secret stuff. And if we go to the thing, we list our directory. Now there's an AGT PNG extracted on the bottom side. And if we go to that, we could see that it's well, here you could see the color. If you do an LSLA, it will tell you the D in the front, which is stands for directory. And you could go into the actual file itself, and now they give you all of this stuff. This is basically a recursive um like or folder on folder inside a folder. If we go into Mac OS, mm, inside here there is more files. So cool thing we could do is, again, I told you that ls does a lot of things. Ls also does recursive listing if you want with the capital R. And then we could do recursive listing from L with and then list all. And with that they list you everything that they could see. Of course, they're not going to list out the inside the zip because of the fact that it's an archive file. And if we could potentially go into each one of these to see what it is, or a lot of it is empty JPEG in which we don't really know what it is. So we could do strings to all of them to see if there is any kind of file inside or like a string inside, but that would take a long time. See, and this is what a lot of the CTF challenges does sometimes. They put you into what you think you're doing the right steps, which is they put you into a rabbit hole, and it just continuously make you dig deeper. And although you will potentially find the answer soon, it will take a lot of your time. And if you're in a time crunch, you probably would run out of time before you get to find the answer. So remember the strings that we did before? We could do that since that string did that for the entire folder. We could do that. But I want to show you piping. So when you pipe something onto a different thing, so piping is this is pipe, which is the just one straight line. You could open or you could pull out different keywords that you want from the strings outcome before, right? And since we already know what kind of answers we're looking for a flag that has the keyword of CTF learn, and then the things inside is the thing that we don't know. So using the known keyword, we could potentially sift through, not not manually, but automatically sift through all the different data that was given to us, and then just take everything and just display that. And what we could do is we go back to it. We go to strings. Let's first do the AGT PNG one, and then we try to grab CTF, let's just say. And with that, we were able to find a word CTF in there. And if we pull out, let's just say, oh, I guess it doesn't have that. It pulls out all the different warned, the the line with the word warned on there. So it pulls out all the single different ones. But since there's only one of the CTF one, it just pulls out that particular thing. So and then if you put this onto the platform, you got your flag. And just like that, you did 2 questions. And if you think about it, if you knew already that you were gonna put yourself into a rabbit hole, if you go through it and you just pivot yourself and see other way to do it, you will not waste that time that you would have if you were to go into every single file and just look into every single folder. It saves a lot of time, and essentially you could do more problems and focus on the harder ones. Anybody have questions about this one? Okay. So now we're gonna go to the hard question. The hard question, I don't know if anybody saw. It's a different kind of question than these two. It is not a it's not a, what is it called? The other one I would call like forensics types, where you uncover evidence inside or maybe look into things for you to gather more information. The other one is called a web application exploit. No, it's not 42. The number is 149. Okay. It says it's injection time. I stumble upon this website, which is the website, and I think they have a flag in there somewhere. Union might be a helpful command. So with the questions, sometimes they do give you hints, and with that, you could go into it knowing what it is that you're going to do. So the first hint is that I think they have the flag in there somewhere, and union might be a helpful command. So I'm not quite sure if you guys know, but union is a command for SQL for you to see the different kind of um, for you to actually get some kind of data from um, a database table concurrently. So like you do it twice. So in one line, you do two things at the same time. So um, let's see. Let's look for SQL commands. Right. Mm, let's just do the regular W3 school. So in a table like this, usually a lot of different login sites, they do basic customer ID, and then you basically give them your username, and in which get turned into a user ID in their database, and then they get the password. You file your password, and if they match, then you get it. You get it. That's the simplest way to explain what authentication is. And basically, you see here it says select star from customers, and that's the way that they and select all the records from customers, which is a table. And SQL is a good thing to know because it's the back end on a lot of different application and a lot of different things that you're going to encounter as you go more into the cybersecurity. Web injection is actually like the most annoying thing. And union, which what they said is not here. Okay. Well, let's see. Union command. Yeah. Okay. I guess it's an operator. It was there actually. See, I'm a little blind, and it does these two things at the same time. Now we're gonna use our knowledge. What we could potentially learn here, if you guys want to learn SQL, that's another thing you guys should look into. And the more you know, the better you perform in these kind of challenges things. And you just need to know a little bit so that you could go ahead and kind of try and kind of experiment with it. And this is the website that they give us. Mm, all right. So in this website, they just tell you based on an ID. If you put one, gives you like the name, the breed, the color. I guess if you put two, doodle, poodle, pink. It's a pink poodle. Three, and then so on. You get the idea, right? And a lot of different websites that are like this, basically just an input value, they're statically linked where this line is it just goes to is an input for one particular thing. So let's just where can I explain something like this? Let's go to a notepad. Yikes. That's what our notepad look like here. Okay. Well, in a thing where it says ID is equals 3, this is the ending of our URL, right? It just tells us the client on this side that the ID is 3. And what the backside on the background is doing is basically like doing it's like select star from table name something something. It's like where, and then they go ID equals 3. Now the table name we don't know. I'm just writing the table name because that's where the table name would go. And then this is well, it would go like this. Yep. See? And this is the way that they go about it in the back end. And what we want to do is we want to manipulate this particular side of the whole line in the background so that we could interact with more than what we were given. And as you know, a lot of different programming languages, if you've ever taken like any kind of programming language or learn any single one of them, um, they're very syntax oriented. So let's just say like in Java, if you don't have the backend thing, your whole thing just crashes because of the fact that that's the language they were trained to know. So what we want to do is, if in a case like this, let's see if we could add another one of the single quotation thing, and just like that, we kind of created two different input value. Well, this one is, we close this one, and then here we do like and get something else, and that's what we want to do with this thing. That's like what they do with web injects. Basically, that's the whole story of it. So we want to, let's try something. This is not good. Okay, I was about to say, I'm like, all right. So if we put one, it goes to the names. If you put, let's see what we did before, and it gives us, all right, gives us nothing. All right, it's having a hard time processing that we're trying to talk to them. Um, but I think it gives us nothing to. Last time I tried. Wait, is it just me? Okay, so it gives us no results. But the thing was, before one just gives us a result. So to tag this part, or is it a single quotation? I think it's a single quotation. That was what fucking, I mean, what screwing us up. Uh, so let's try a different thing. So let's do an or, right? We could do an or basically like this, and that gives us something. That gives us a lot more actually. Say it says ID one or true, which is one equals one. So we could make an assumption that the single quotation is barred from it, right? And the way that these structures work, as we see before on the old thing, where was that folder that where was that table that we saw? We literally just saw a table, no? Okay, here. In this table alone, we see that the main things that is more important that they use the customer ID, the customer name, the customer whatever it is, or contact name. So they work by columns. And if you know the columns, you could iterate through the whole thing and just list everything. So what we should want to do is, since we already know that these kind of conditionals work, we want to see how can we put uh, our our knowledge into where we know all the columns. So what we do is we do one, and that's where union comes into play. Union allows us to just do more than just, before it was just true. We saying, oh, I want to know all the IDs now, and this is all their IDs, which is basically just three. And we want to see um how many columns do they have. We could create an impression that there are four, but we just want to make sure, right? Uh, let's. My bad. Let me drink some water. Now, in order for us to check for the columns first, we do order by, and in which is basically saying it's the iterator. Let's see how many columns there are. This one gives us one, and we just, this concept is a lot of the thing by trial and error. This is nothing, basically same thing. Same thing. And let's try the last one, or speculation, in which was four because of the fact that there is three things and plus one for different aspect that they're using. Mm, usually. Okay. Wait, that doesn't give me the information that I wanted. But Okay. Well, there is 4. I'm not quite sure why it doesn't want to do the order by, but sometimes this thing is tweaking on me. But yeah. So by selecting all 4, we are able to see the different columns and what it is they're numbered by. And through the last thing that I did, which is the one union, so I basically want to see and select. I wanted to select 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that's the ending. Basically, the balance query, the back. It's just a syntax thing, so it ignores the rest of it, and it gives us the iteration in which each of them are. So from here, we're able to know, we know how many columns there are, and we know how can we go through all of them. And what we want to do is we want to use the SQL syntax to kind of browse through what browse through the entire column, because of the fact that we can't see what's in the background, we just have to continue trying. So one way for you to dump information is to select the name table and just listing all of them, right? So in order for us to do that is we still have to do the one, the union, we do select, we select a table name, and we do 2, 3, because before we want the table name of the breed, which is the first. The 2, 3, we could just leave it blank because of the fact that they're just the name and the color. And then we want from, this is the information schema table, in which an SQL, basically SQL constant of all the tables. Oh, okay. All right, so sometimes it just bugs. Maybe it's because of the SQL parser in the background, but this drops all the different columns. And with that, we should be able to see all the different things that they have, all the different columns that they have. And we look through it and we're able to see all the different columns. And we're trying to see if there's any kind of distinct one that we want to look at, right? And we have this one that says, wow, you found me. And through all of them, it looks like everything should be like internal system thing. And the wow, you found me just doesn't look like it's an internal system column. I don't think they're gonna be like, oh, look at it from the wow, you found me column. Um, so we could look at through that. And yeah, with the right syntax, you're able to go through all of them. I wasn't able to dump all the columns for some reason again, but I got the column name through the dumping of the same way we did with the tables. I was able to dump the columns, and if we copy these, we go back, I paste it, and just like that, we solved the challenge. Anybody have any questions?
Is it common to run through that much trial and error? I mean, I know that, like you just said, it wasn't working the way that you thought it was, but
Yeah.
that's basically that's what NCL is just, or I'm sorry, capture the flag is. You're just basically like trial error, trial error, trial error.
Yeah, like in fact, Kyle have this one encryption problem that he's been doing for an entire year, and he still hasn't figured it out till this day. So a lot of it is because you're doing research and you're trying it again, and the more proficient you are with the surrounding knowledge, the better you are with the things like that. Yeah,
So
it's
for
frustrating. What happened?
yeah, so for a question like this, if you had like no knowledge of SQL, you would kind of just be screwed then.
Low key, yeah. I mean, if you don't know what SQL is, you wouldn't be screwed per se, but it would be really hard for you in comparison to someone who already knows it. A little bit of knowledge goes a long way with these type of questions.
you won't really know until you run into those questions, right? So then you basically have
Yeah.
to go through it once you've hit that question. You're like, oh, I don't know this. Let me
Yeah.
then
Research it, yeah.
right.
Exactly.
Okay.
And if you do, the more you do, the kind of questions that there are, right? You get new questions every day, or the expansion of these things that you need to know, or like, oh, let me research that. That becomes useful for the next time you run to do a similar type of problem, although it won't be exact same. You know, like the process of like the mindset of it, or like how can I do this with the knowledge that I have now.